dated. Okay. It was discovered by Adrian Boshier, field research officer for the Museum of Man and Science in Johannesburg. And so when you start talking about an iron mine, you see what I'm saying? And they mining for, and you got to be able to melt that shit down. You see what I'm saying? You got to be able to melt that down to make it into stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so, imagine having a furnace at 43,000, you digging for iron. You know what I'm saying? And so you got to understand weaponry and this, that, and the third. So, that's far, that's thousands and thousands of years before any other mines appear on the planet. Here again, coming out of the New York Times, this is also in 1979, Nubian monarchy called the oldest. This is shit that they've been knew. Okay, this is not something we making up. They know this. You see, why don't you know it? Why is they keep teaching that these niggas out here teaching about some Atlantis, that Egypt came from Atlantis? You see what I'm saying? That, Egypt is, all this occult shit to teach away from the truth. You know what I'm saying? These niggas talking about Egypt is in America and all this garbage. I was looking at all this crazy occult shit that these motherfuckers is talking about. It says evidence of the oldest recognizable monarchy in human history preceding the rise of the earliest Egyptian kings by several generations has been discovered in artifacts from ancient Nubia in Africa. The discovery is expected to stimulate a new appraisal on the origins of civilization in Africa, raising the question of to what extent later Egyptian culture may have derived its advanced political structure from the Nubians. Okay? They have found, so, okay, wait a minute, this come out of which one? Okay. I can read from this point. The artifacts, including hundreds of fragments of pottery, jewelry, stone vessels, and ceremonial objects such as incense burners, were initially recovered from the Kustul. See, Kustul, that's deep down into Sudan. You see what I'm saying? Yes, it's right there on the border. Right there on the border with Sudan. You see? And so, it looked very similar to the burials of the early Egyptian kings. That's how they knew. You see what I'm saying? And it says that Kustul Cemetery by Keith C. Seal, a professor at University of Chicago. Listen to this. The cemetery, which contained 33 tombs. You understand? This was a royal cemetery. They found all type of jewelry and pottery. This was in advance. This was before Egypt. That were heavily plundered in ancient time, was on the Nile near the modern boundary between Egypt and Sudan. Okay, the significance of the artifacts, which has been stored in the university's Oriental Institute, was not fully appreciated until last year. They just threw the shit in there. They didn't even tell the people. The man died until a curator that came after him, Seal, looked at what he had. Bruce Williams, a research associate, when he went in and went through the finds, he was the one that presented the information. Seal never even presented the information. You know what I'm saying? So they knew long time ago. It also talks about it was obvious. Listen to what it says. It's in the second paragraphs on the right side. You see up here, Dr. Williams said in an interview, it was obvious from the quantity and quality of the painted pottery and the jewelry that we were dealing with wealthy people. This was even long before Egypt. And so the jewelry that they had was so exquisitely carved and created. You see what I'm saying? That they knew they was dealing with royalty. This was a royal cemetery. It wasn't just a cemetery, it was a royal cemetery. Okay, it was only, and it said they found the incense burner, which was broken and had to be pieced together. It depicted a palace facade, a crowned king sitting on a throne in a boat, a royal standard before the king, hovering above the king, and the falcon god Horus. You see, and so you see down here, we already showed that, which we and Dr. Williams suggests that after the Egyptian attack around 3000 BC, the people of Seti migrated up the Nile and settled south of the river's third cataract, near a place known as Dunkwa. Okay, I heard Dr. Ben talking about that. Okay, and so you see, this is all, the abbreviated timeline, pre-dynastic period of 5,000 to 3,000 100 BC. Now that's arbitrary. This is the Cro-Magnon Neanderthals, and it could be far more ancient than what it is. Understand that. Old Kingdom 26 to 86 to 2181 BC. That's the Old Kingdom. The Old Kingdom started with Zosia and Imhotep. Zosia and Imhotep. The New Kingdom started with Ahmose and Ahmose Nefertari, which is around 1570 to 1070 BC. All them dates are arbitrary. You see, and so we, the great, the Old Kingdom, Zosia, Sikkim, Ket, Kaaba, and see and that's crazy that they had a king that they said was called Kaaba. Now you understand this is coming out of the Medu Netta, and so I take everything that I see with a grain of salt. You see, I don't believe that there's any language that and so you use these terms to identify a certain king that you have the cartouche, but you don't necessarily know the language that was spoken, and so you only using these terms to identify a particular king, which does have a cartouche, and anything that is attributed to most of the kings, you will see their cartouche is carved in there. So that's how a certain temple, a certain statue is attributed. So the only thing you really have is the glyphs in the cartouche. That's how you identify the king or the queen or the royalty or the person. You see? And so some kings, you see they cartouche and the symbols in their cartouche over a lot of things. You see what I'm saying? You see, and so that's how you attribute, certain pyramids, temples, and obelisks and stela to a certain king. You know what I'm saying? Because of their cartouche is carved on that. But the pronunciation is all speculative. You see what I'm saying? And so as you see these kings, and I say Seneferu, I'm attributing that name to certain pyramids so you can identify, just like I use Victoria. I know that's not the river, the name of the lake, but if you go to a map today, that's what it will say. It will say Lake Victoria. So to keep the people from looking all over if you use any other name other than that, then if they go to a map, they're not going to find the name. That you might have an obscure name. It might be a correct name, but it is obscure. Most people not going to know that name. And so some people are so educated that they out-educate themselves by using terms that the majority of the people do not know. So to be clear, I identify what the majority of the people know, and then I might lead them to the obscure name. That's just like people say Kemet. Most people not going to know Kemet. They're going to know Egypt. You see what I'm saying? So you can say Kemet, and the few people in the culture might know what you're talking about. People outside of the culture ain't going to understand a goddamn thing you're saying. So some people out educate themselves many times. And so you see here, timeline. You see 10,000 BC, earliest cultivation of grains along the Nile. That's arbitrary. long as African people been in the Nile, they've been cultivating grains. And it was long before 10,000 BC. 5,000, 4,000 earliest permanent settlements along the Nile. Okay, 3,800 BC, possible founding in Nubia of earliest known monarchy. Now you got to understand this book is called African Kingdoms of the Past, Kush, Egypt, Kush, Aksum, Northeast Africa, Kenny Man. Okay, this is a Caucasoid. You see what I'm saying? So the information that I just gave you in the New York Times post, they have already started to calculate, that into the chronology of most serious people studying the Nile Valley. Most people that study know that Egypt has come out of the Nile Valley. I mean, up out of Nubia, coming up out of the south. And so you see 3,500 to 2,800 A group in Lower Nubia. That's Kustul. You see, that's Kustul. They're not saying, they're just saying A group. And so Kustul is the A group. You see? So you can see right there, formation 3,500 to 2,800 A group in Lower Nubia. And then you got 3,500 BC formation of kingdoms, Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt. Okay? And so in 3,100 BC, Menes or Narmer unites Upper and Lower Egypt. You see? And so, when you, this is 3,100 is the Egypt that we know of today. But you ain't understanding that there were kingdoms that existed. You can see right here, 3,800 BC. That's almost 700 years before Egypt is even in existence. You see, they already got a divine kingship and so on and so forth. So, people that's talking about that Egypt come out of Mesopotamia, that's just not true. It come up out the south. And so this is the A group, Kustul. So when they say 3,500 to 2,800, which really is both of these. So 3,800 possible founding in Nubia of earliest known monarchy, A group in Lower Nubia. So that's right around this area, Aswan, Seti, Kustul. This area right here is the A group. So we know where the sources of ancient Egypt come from. And so I had to put this out on, where's the true home of the woolly haired black race? And so we got people talking about they aboriginal to America and shit, and they're trying to cut the umbilical cord to Africa. They don't want to be African. You see, they don't want to be African no damn more. If they ever wanted to be Africa, you know what I'm saying? So when we talking about indigenous, and I did find that where these niggas believe that they are from the land, they are, and I say, I'm trying to ask the question of what do these motherfuckers really believe? Do they believe that they come from North America by, naturally? And I couldn't get nobody. And then finally, I did find some crazy motherfucker that said, here it is right here, to let you know that they want to cut themselves away from Africa. And so I found this Auto Chthon versus Native. And so what it's saying here, it says all people born in America are Native Americans, but not all are Auto Chthonists or came directly, directly from the soil of America or came directly from the soil of America. So I already did the environmental habitat makeup, weather pattern of America, and there's no goddamn way. And when you look down here and it says indigenous occurring naturally in a particular place, that you gonna get somebody to be chthon or of the soil, dark, melanated, coming from no goddamn North America. And I'm not going to even do that. You know, you can go watch the video over and over if you feel like it.